From far and wide, Oilers fans, this is Dolynny TV. And welcome back to another Edmonton Oilers discussion here on Dolynny TV, guys. Today, well, you know what? I took a hard line, took a depressing, defeated tone yesterday. I'm not going to go back on that. 100% I'm not, because that, what I did forget to mention, yes, the first period was all right. We took the 1-0 lead. Life was all right. However, the bad outweighed the good so proportionally, so similar to the Chicago game the other night. So that being said, I just want to clear that up. If you're returning from my Pittsburgh Penguins game breakdown, game review, whatever you want to call it from yesterday, I did want to clarify that because I was just at a weird point. I was really sick and dying. Like, I mean, my throat was killing me and I really couldn't even grasp enough air to get some words out at sometimes during that video, so my apologies there. However, with apologies out of the way to start today, you have to sit here and wonder. Obviously, we've heard rumors from Darren Dreger that Cam Talbot trade seems likely, Philadelphia seems like the likely destination. Here's the thing. The Cam Talbot to Philadelphia mantra, I guess what you could call it, right? That's the trade mantra. Easy cap space clear if we trade him to Philadelphia. You sit there and look at that. Guess what? That has been the root, cheered, and absolutely applauded by Peter Chiarelli and now by Keith Gretzky, according to the media. We haven't had anything confirmation from either GM saying, hey, yeah, we're trading Cam Talbot. Just waiting on Philadelphia to come up from a 5th to a 4th. We haven't had that kind of confirmation. However, you know what I'm getting at, right? It's been the mantra cheered during the Chiarelli era still, and it's also been the mantra now cheered during Keith Gretzky's interim general manager stint, which really is the root of today's video, where we really have no clue what an interim general manager in Keith Gretzky even looks like, because we haven't seen him do anything. We have nothing, absolutely nothing over at Keith Gretzky so far. Like, it's been absolutely dead nothing. I think the only thing, actually we have seen one thing, is the Joel Persson over in Sweden signing. He's playing in the SHL. He might be here next year, but do we really need another defenseman at this point? Is another defenseman the answer for us? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I'm sorry. That doesn't solve us, especially another $1 million contract. What good does that do us? So the question then becomes, is he not allowed to make moves? Is it just literally to have a guy in the press box to show that it isn't just the old boys club? Is that literally the only reason Keith Gretzky is up in the press box or in the GM box, whatever you want to call it, any night, wherever, for the Edmonton Oilers? Because we've already seen, you had Bob Nicholson up there in Pittsburgh with him, and I mean, Bob Nicholson, what, the senior hockey ops, sure, whatever, but thing is, at this point, it seems very, very clear to me that Keith Gretzky is just a puppet holding a place. And for a guy that, I guess, yeah, has a pretty good hockey resume over his duration as a front office type dude, well, that's a kind of tough position to be in, right? Especially you watch your team night in, night out, either get spanked, either not show up, either to have one good period, have two crappy ones, or have two really good periods and self-implode in the third. This team has done absolutely everything it can do to possibly scream, we need help, we need something changed, and yet the Edmonton Oilers have not changed a single thing. There's like 6 or 7 obvious things the Oilers have to do. I named the first one, trade Talbot. That's a very easy one, because no matter what, you look at it this way. We're losing Talbot at the end of the year. Why on earth, if you're an interim general manager, would you want it on your record as an acting guy that you let a UFA that's a goalie that has value for all 31 teams in the NHL? Don't get me wrong. Cam Talbot has value to all 31 teams in the league. How much value? Is it a 6th? Is it a 5th? Is it a 4th? Is it a 3rd? That's what remains to be seen. Obviously, in the Philadelphia situation, it's probably a 4th round pick and Mike McKenna. That's fine. That's dandy. Whatever. The problem I have, though, with everybody already pushing the Philadelphia Flyers thing, Keith Gretzky is in a very tough spot. I'm not defending him by any means, because the guy's got to make a goddamn move. But he's in a tough spot because you can't exactly buy salary, right? You can't buy more salary cap but you can't, I know what you guys argue, add through subtraction, if you know what I mean. I'm arguing you can if you do it right, and maybe moving a pick or two. I'm not saying the first rounder, I'm not saying the second rounder. Use value picks to get value guys. That's essentially the argument. However, you move Talbot, you can't bring back a goalie. You've got Al Montoya in the AHL. If you want a guy who's just going to hold a place while Mikko Koskinen runs the show for the last 22, 23 games, whatever you get when you trade Talbot, guess what? Al Montoya is your guy. Because you're not paying Mikko Koskinen $2.5 million with a no movement clause, mind you. Yes, it's a Peter Chiarelli clause, to not start. I'm sorry. If you started Al Montoya 5 of the last 20 games, now Oilers fans are like, why are we doing that? Obviously, there's a lot more going on in Edmonton than we can possibly try to even fathom at that point. However, that's hypotheticals. Let's get off the what ifs. So, like I said, addition through subtraction, going to be tough for Keith Gretzky. But as the GM, I'm sorry. We've already been through this. We cannot stand pat and get worse at the deadline. That's essentially all that's going to happen. Whether you sell, whether you buy, whether you retool, whether you rebuild, whatever the Oilers do, you have to do something. You stand pat, you just screw yourselves, tie your hands until, what, June 20th, right before the draft, and then try to make a trade there to free something up and then go into the RFAs. I'm sorry, it does not work. Does not work for me, does not work for Oilers fans in general, does not work for the salary cap issue, does not work in an NHL sense. It doesn't. I'm sorry, that's common sense. I may not be an NHL general manager. I may not be an NHL media person. I may not be anything NHL affiliated. I'm just a guy with a wall that has an Oilers jersey, Oilers flag, Oilers pennant, and a jersey, a Team Canada jersey with Connor McDavid's number and my last name on it. That's all I am. But I'm a guy who sees that you can't stand pat and get worse at the deadline. That does not work. You guys, if we disagree on everything, we will agree on that. I know 100%. Like I said, if you want pro tank, go pro tank. You're going pro rebuild. If you're going with me, you're going pro retool and hope you can addition through subtraction. And if you're sitting here thinking you're in the stand pat camp, I have not heard from you in the comments section. I'm sorry not to call you out, but wow, that does not solve our issues. So that's another challenge for Keith Gretzky. Now, you start looking at other things Keith Gretzky has to be looking at. The Andrej Sekera situation. They're literally, this is not a Keith Gretzky issue. This is an upper management issue. The whole Andrej Sekera. Right now we've kicked the ball down the court another 2 games, I believe it is, for Andrej Sekera. Let me go double check Ryan Rishaug here if I can get my mouse to work. Holy crap. There we go. Let's go. And Ryan Rishaug was on fire today between tweeting about the Eskimos and tweeting about the Oilers. Man, oh man, man alive. He had a tough go. And I mean, yeah, that is the way it goes. So let's see. Hitchcock today on why he didn't run practice. Yeah, no. Yeah, Andrej Sekera will remain with the Condors for 2 more games on his conditioning stint. Buys the Oilers a bit more time to find room. It's not about buying the Oilers more time to find room. Obviously, that's the easy yes answer. But you look at the more complex build around upper management style of this team at this point. The only reason they're doing this is because upper management does not want to have a disaster on their hands. They're trying to avert a crisis as much as possible. They push the penny down the line to the trade deadline. Obviously, every team makes a trade at the trade deadline 9 times out of 10. So, the reason I say they're doing it then is because they don't want Keith Gretzky, their man that they put in place, right? The Old Boys Club put this guy in place as the interim general manager. If he fails, it blows back on them. And you know as well as I do, the Old Boys Club in Edmonton does not want anything to blow back on them. They're blameless. They feel like they are absolutely blameless in this situation. They have not done anything wrong. There's something in the water, guys. There's something in the water in Edmonton. Yeah, what is it? EPCOR? They said the water's fine. So, boys, the sewage stinks from the top. And man, oh man alive, does it stink. So, this Keith Gretzky situation is just an absolute mess. Absolutely puppeteered by the Old Boys Club, and it is just an absolute disappointment to see the Oilers being allowed by Daryl Cates to be run by this amount of, I don't want to call them clowns because that's a step too far, but they're just going out there every day, day in, day out, and in a media fan perception, somehow, some way finding new lows to make this team worse. And right now, what they're doing by puppeting Keith Gretzky in front as an interim general manager to hopefully deflect blame off them, but also not allow for blame to come their way. Okay, I'm butchering it. However, the puppeteering, that's essentially just all orchestrated to keep this team where it's at, keep this team failing. And I don't know why that is the accepted practice in Edmonton. Anyways, guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I will catch you in the next one.